We're going to go ahead and get started on our work session. So I want to welcome everyone here. And we have one thing on our agenda, the Public Art Foundation report. So if whoever is going to make that presentation, come on up.
Hello, I'm Dr. Alexa McCarthy, and I'm the Executive Director of the Greater Des Moines Public Art Foundation. Thank you for having me. And today what we will do is go through kind of largely our annual report from 2023, but also talk through a couple of highlights from 2024 and going forward. And I'd also like to thank Linda Westergaard, who sits on our board as a City Council member appointed, and also Emily Harris, who's our city liaison, and they're both here today and wonderful assets to the organization. So thank you. So essentially, we want to thank City Council for its tremendous support of the Public Art Foundation and for its $200,000 annual investment. And with that annual investment, we have been able to leverage over the course of the last year and a half about $5 million worth of new public art projects, or 15 new installations that will be in place throughout the course of the next 3 years. So the Public Art Foundation is the go-to resource, the lead organization and advocate for advancing public art in Greater Des Moines, and we're dedicated to envisioning, developing, advancing, and promoting public art projects in the community. We recognize that art belongs in streetscapes, parks, buildings, and infrastructures of a thriving community, not just in galleries and museums. And thus we actively seek opportunities for arts integration throughout the community with the goal of establishing a world-class destination for public art. And Des Moines is just that, with the Des Moines Arts Center, the Papa John Sculpture Park, and some projects that we are going to be talking about today, all of which are free and accessible to the public. Our vision statement is to serve as a catalyst for outstanding public art projects with the power to inspire and engage people who reside in, work in, and visit Des Moines. And we advance the best of public art in the community through public and private collaborations, enhancing community access and understanding, and adding to the cultural record through our installations. Since September of 2023, I'll highlight just some of our administrative achievements. We worked with To the Top to create a new strategic plan for 2025 through 28, which establishes goals for scaling as we enhance our public art programming and installations throughout the city. We've updated our policies and procedures and bylaws. We contracted with Denman for a 2023 financial audit as well as the 2024, the results of which will be presented to the city each year with our annual report. We had educational outreach sessions that focused on careers in the arts and free public art opportunities in and around Des Moines at East High School, Lincoln, and Waukee Northwest High School, which actually based one of their senior projects on the 5th site call for the airport project, which we'll discuss in a few moments, but that was the call that was specifically for Iowa-based artists, and so that was a great activity for their final project. We've developed a streamlined process for communication and approvals of public art installations with Emily Harris and the city team. We've established a number of new partnerships that have resulted and will result in exciting installations. We'll take a look at our collaboration with Operation Downtown that produced the It's a Living Always Together mural by It's a Living artist named Ricardo Gonzalez, and the Grand Underpass project at 4th and Grand, which we will be working with Operation Downtown on as well in 2026. We've partnered with Ballet Des Moines to develop an educational program and artist residency where we'll bring a dancer and an artist into the Des Moines public schools, and students will create a movement-based artwork that will be theirs to keep. We're also participating in Bravo's Passport to Culture through our educational outreach programming. We will, for the first time, be collaborating with the Des Moines Arts Festival, and we have provided funding for their all-state arts competition, which is the students of junior and senior year who have submitted artworks that were then judged and will be displayed at the Des Moines Arts Festival. And then we're working to collaborate with municipalities that make up the greater Des Moines area. No Des Moines funds are used outside of the city of Des Moines, so we apply for other grants or funding, private funding, to realize these projects as the Greater Des Moines Public Art Foundation. Our first such collaboration is with the city of Bondurant. We assisted with their Icon Water Trails project, and then we also will be installing an artwork with Hilda de Bruyne outside of the Bondurant Library. We have also supported a number of projects in and around the Des Moines area. The investment has been $25,000. These include Freedom of Expression, which is an exhibition by artists who I self-identify as living and working with a disability. We also have supported Water Curia, which is Jordan Weber's installation that will be at Des Moines Waterworks Park, and Art Week 2 years in a row, which saw over 200,000 people reached and was run by Group Creative Services. As I mentioned at the beginning of the presentation, we've laid the groundwork for the realization of 15 new installations, the total estimated value of which is $5 million. And these will be installed by the end of 2027. These installations will reach all 4 wards of the city and the surrounding metro. And we'll talk a bit about these projects, but they include our airport installations, library installations, mural strategy, and partnerships with surrounding municipalities. The first mural is by artist It's a Living, aka Ricardo Gonzalez, that I just mentioned earlier, and entitled Always Together at the Lawmark Building at 5th and Locust. Gonzalez is an artist who comes from Mexico. He's collaborated with such entities as Google, Apple, Bentley, and is known for his intensely bright, word-based images that do have kind of a sense of harmony in terms of color. And so you'll see his blue and green composition always together here on the glass block surface at the Lawmark Building. And so this was a fun one to consider in terms of how the mural was prepped and maintained. The mural is owned and maintained by the Lawmark Building. The exciting work that we're able to do in collaboration with the Des Moines International Airport was something that we were able to embark on thanks to the support of the City of Des Moines and the funds that we receive. This is a project where we leveraged that $200,000 and raised over $4 million through corporate and individual donors for public art. This was something that we began in November of 2023. It was the heaviest lift of the public art organization to date, Public Art Foundation, and we're very grateful for the community support and also, as I mentioned, the collaboration with the airport. These installations will impact 5 million travelers by 2042, and they serve as a first impression of the state for years to come. You'll notice here that we're just going to be looking at the renderings from our partners HNTB and BNIM, the architectural and design firms working on the airport. The renderings of the airport artworks will be made public at the end of this month through DSM Magazine, so we're very excited for that, and you'll be able to see them at that point. There are 5 sites that will include artworks for the Des Moines International Airport's new terminal. These sites are all on the exterior or non-secure side, except for one which spans the non-secure and secure side. So we're very excited to be able to base educational programming on these installations. The first site is the entire expanse of the check-in. So when you walk in, and you'll see at the top center there, that glass kind of placeholder, semi-opaque wall there that will have an artwork. And then the right-hand side next to check-in and the left-hand side, the images on either side of that central image, those are the end walls of check-in and baggage claim, which will also have the same artist's work. The lower left image shows the both sides. We are only seeing one, but it will be both sides of the elevator on the north and west enclosures. That will have an artwork that I will describe further in a bit, but it will be both a static image and then projected movement over it, so it will be constantly changing. The bottom center image is where we will have a suspended projection that suspended installation that will also visually project into the secure side, and that will be by artist Gordon Huther. And then the fourth site is adjacent to that suspended installation, and that will be by another artist, Altrance Gumby, and we'll talk about them more in a moment. The fifth site, which was the site that the Waukee Northwest High School based that activity on, was an open call for all Iowa-based artists. So any artist or artist studio living and working was invited to submit a proposal for this site, and we'll be working with Des Moines-based RDG Art Studio for this site. These are the 5 teams or artists that were selected. So site 1, that interior expanse that I showed you behind check-in, is artist Ann Lindberg, who was born in Iowa and now lives and works in New York. Site 2, that static and moving image combination, will be artist Adam Frank, and he's based out of Brooklyn, New York. Then we have Gordon Huther, who has done all of the installations for the Salt Lake City Airport, as well as the Parkland Memorial, and a number of other notable installations, and he will be doing the suspended installation at Site 3. Brooklyn-based Altrance Gumby, who is an artist who was just named one of the Chanel Tribeca 3 artists for 2025, is our artist for Site 4. An RDG Art Studio, Des Moines-based, as I mentioned, is our artist for Site 5. All of the artworks will be installed when the new terminal opens, and we're very excited. To mention a couple of new projects that we're also working on, some larger strategies, we have 2 strategies that are shaped around what we refer to as the Keystone model. So works where we have a central work by a world-renowned artist. So in the case of, we have Miffy Fountain outside of our central library. And Miffy is the keystone work for our library strategy, where we will place installations based on themes surrounding books in each of the libraries in Des Moines. We have a call out now for Franklin Library, where we have just narrowed it down to 2 finalists, and that will be based on Percy Jackson and the Olympians and installed this winter. Then we're working with Dutch artist Leon Kier to install a large-scale mural at 901 Grand in collaboration with Principal Insurance. You can see an example of Leon's works here, these hyper-realistic, painted, almost 3-dimensional looking works. Kier's mural will mark the first, and it will launch with our new Greater Des Moines Public Art Foundation app, which will also have an augmented reality component, which means the mural, though it will stand alone, will move when you hover our free app over it. So I'll show you an example of that in a moment. And this will be, as I mentioned, the first in a larger strategy aiming to have at least 1 mural in each ward. And this will then serve as opportunities for Iowa-based artists only. So like Tom Sachs and Leon Kier, we're bringing these international artists in and then using those as stimulus for projects throughout the city that will serve as opportunities for local and regional artists. And to show an example of what Leon's work will do, here is an example of one of his works in Leuven, Belgium. And as you can see, when you take the, I believe it's in Leuven, but it's in Belgium, and when you hover the app over it, you can pull paintings out of storage, so to speak. And there's our app where you'll be able to do that. It will soon be new and have a little facelift. Uh-oh. And if you go by our central library today, you'll see that Miffy is having a bit of a facelift herself. She is being cleaned, and spots will be repainted. Before we embarked on this work, we installed a series of anti-skateboarding pavers in collaboration with Genus Architecture to make sure that she would no longer face damage from skateboarders, or to do our best. And that will then allow us to preserve her, add spot painting to prevent corrosion. And she will be able to last for years to come. The paint on her is already nearly 20 years old, so she's looking great. We're also cleaning June Kaneko's Dangos and expansion down by the HubSpot, and to do this we use Midwest Center for Conservation, a trusted resource for collections around the world. All of our new projects going forward include a conservation and maintenance budget. As I mentioned, we're working with Bondurant on their library project, a project that will be on the outside of their public library, and we're working with them on their Mud Creek Icon Water Trails installation. As a reminder, no city funds are used for projects outside of Des Moines. And I won't bore you with the details, but we did receive a clean financial audit in 2023 and in 2024, and the results will be delivered, as mentioned, with our annual report. Our grand net assets for 2023 hovered around the $811,000 mark. And I know I just threw a lot of information at you, but I'd be thrilled to answer any questions that you might have.
Thank you very much for the presentation, and it's very exciting to see what's been happening, and when you hear from people that come visit, the one thing they say is how beautiful the city is. Sculpture Park is one of the key assets, but just not that, even throughout our neighborhoods. So with that, I will open it up. Does anyone have any questions from council table?
I didn't quite get the app experience with pulling out the paint.
Yes.
I didn't quite grasp what that's about. Is that for all the art that they're public art, or just that? Just that.
So just the mural strategy murals. So this will be the first in a series of augmented reality enabled murals, and you'll be able to access the augmented reality through the app. So that was just an example of one of Leon's works, and that one is installed in Europe. But the one that we'll have here will also animate similarly with the app.
Oh, so these are just new murals?
Yes, just new murals.
Okay.
Yes,
All right, got it.
yes.
Thank you.
Councilman Coleman?
How's that going?
That would be a tough one. Yeah, no, I've not quite figured that out yet.
I have grown
Yes.
kids, but they're the right age to lose their mind over Percy Jackson.
Yes.
Like, tell me more about Franklin and Percy Jackson.
Well, so we thought it would be fun, since Miffy is based on a Dutch book character, a lot of Dutch culture, right? And so we thought it would be fun to use that as a thematic way to introduce installations that are kid-friendly or teen-friendly throughout the branches in Des Moines. So we asked the wonderful staff at Franklin and Sue, who's here with the library, what their readers might be most interested in. And they were the ones actually that came up with the theme of Percy Jackson and the Olympians. And then what we do, and we love that one because it's very broad, right? You can think of mythological subjects, you can think of a number of things that you could do with that theme that don't infringe with copyright, so that's great too. And then we put that out to the artists, and we said, you know, come up with some ideas. And often our works that we're doing now are sculptural for the sake of longevity. So these will be sculptural works that are engaged with the wall in the teen space at the library. So we often, when we're very excited about this, we work with Sue and the library teams to determine what would be of most of interest to their readers.
I do have a second question. You thanked us for the $200,000, and then on your last page it says government support is $200,000. Are we making any progress with support from other jurisdictions?
So our support from other jurisdictions largely comes through the Bravo grant, but when we are activating partnerships, those partnerships are funded by the municipality in addition to any small grants we receive. So the Bondurant project is entirely funded by the city of Bondurant. We have not received contributions from other government entities towards our operating expenses, however.
Anyone else?
I just have one comment. I just want to thank Dr. McCarthy. We're so lucky that she is the director, and fellow board members that are out there. It is an absolute pleasure and honor to serve with you, and I learned so much. Every meeting I learn something from these art experts. So thank you very much, and I appreciate being appointed to this board.
Thank you, Linda. Thank you, board members.
Okay, anything else? If not, thank you again, and welcome to Des Moines and being part of our community.
Thank you. Thank you all.
We will go back around at 4:55.
Okay.